And the things that could turn regular legal weapons into illegal weapons have been banned by this administration. So I don't think it's fair to say the president hasn't followed through on some of his promises.
We've heard Beto O'Rourke say that the president's rhetoric is fueling more hate in this country. The president has used, as you well know, words like invasion to talk about illegal immigrants. He tweeted at those 4 progressive congresswomen, all women of color, saying they should go back to their countries. Isn't this kind of rhetoric, and especially in light of what we just seen, isn't it just dangerous?
Let's not lose sight of the fact that Beto O'Rourke, a former colleague of mine who I hold in high regard, is running for president, and to the extent he can make this an issue, he's going to. So here's the question you could ask Beto, and I would if he were sitting here. It's a fair question, I think, to ask, which is, look, did anyone blame Bernie Sanders for the congressional baseball game shooting? No, I don't think so. Did anyone blame Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for the for the crazy guy who tried to blow up the DHS office in Washington State, taking, I think, a homemade bomb and an AR-15 to shoot up what he called a concentration camp? The exact same rhetoric that AOC was using. Did anybody blame her? Look, there's no benefit here to trying to make this a political issue. This is a social issue, and we need to address it as that.
But you know this is more than Beto O'Rourke. What do you say to Americans who look at what happened in El Paso and say that the president's rhetoric is in part to blame? What do you say to those Americans? You know there are many.
The president is just as saddened by this as you are. The president is just as angry by this as you are and wants to do something about it just as much as everybody else does. I hate to draw attention to the manifesto, but if you actually go and look at it, what the guy says is that he's felt this way a long time before Donald Trump got elected president. This was a sick person. The person in Dayton was a sick person. No politician is to blame for that. The people responsible here are the people who pulled the trigger. We need to figure out how to create less of those kinds of people as a society and not trying to figure out who gets blamed going into the next election.
I want to read you something that George P. Bush said yesterday. He said, there have now been multiple attacks from self-declared white terrorists here in the U.S. in the last several months. There is a real and present threat that we must all denounce and defeat. Mick, why has the president downplayed the threat of white nationalism?
I don't think he has. Go look at what he said yesterday. He condemned this without any reservation whatsoever, John. So I don't think that's fair.
Well, wait a minute. Can I read the president's words? Because back in March, he was asked directly, do you see today white nationalism as a rising threat around the world? And his answer, I don't really. I think it's a small group of people that have a very, very serious problem. He downplayed the threat of white nationalism. Was he wrong to do that?
No, I don't believe that's downplaying it. Look what he said.
He said, I don't really, when asked if it's rising.
Read the last sentence. I don't have it in front of me. This is a small group of people, and finish the sentence from the tweet.
What did he say? I'll read the whole thing again. He was asked directly, do you see today white nationalism as a rising threat around the world? His answer, I don't really. I think it's a small group of people that have a very, very serious problem.
That's exactly. Look, this is not the same as international sort of nuclear weapons. This is a serious problem. There's no question about it. But they are sick people, and the president knows that. So again, John, I don't think it's fair to try and lay this at the feet of the president. There are people in this country this morning thinking that President Trump was happy by this. That's a sad state of this nation. He's angry. He's upset. He wants it to stop. I don't think it's at all fair to sit here and say that he doesn't think that white nationalism is bad for the nation. These are sick people. You cannot be a white supremacist and be normal in the head. These are sick people. You know it. I know it. The president knows it. And this type of thing has to stop. We have to figure out a way to fix the problem, not figure out a way to lay blame.
All right, Mick Mulvaney, acting White House Chief of Staff, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, John.
Coming up, presidential candidate Julian Castro joins us with his response